Let nobody tell you Nigeria is a poor country. It's a very rich country. It's a country that can feed itself. Today, Ukraine is at war, but Ukraine sends grain to Nigeria to help them fight hunger. Because we are number 109 hungriest country in the world. You must help to change that. All these territories you're seeing are agricultural fields. So they tell you about Sambisa Forest. It's an agricultural field. It's a very simple thing. I don't think it will take you more than 3 hours or 4 hours to drive all through the Sambisa Forest. But I can tell you that if you go to Morocco today, from Casablanca to Port of Tangier, it's about 366 kilometers or thereabouts. And it takes you 4.5 hours. And on both sides, all you will see is cultivated land that will feed the people. It just shows we don't have competent leaders. We have capacity, we have compassion, we have vision to be able to do anything. Can we change narratives in this country? Yes. And you can change it. A country cannot depend its future on a diminishing asset called oil. The country with the biggest oil reserve today is Venezuela. $23 trillion worth of oil. Yes, it's a collapsed country. Even in America, where you have huge oil in Texas, Texas is not the richest state in America. Texas GDP is 1.4 trillion with a per capita of 38. California without oil is 2.6 trillion with a per capita of over 50. New York, it was the sixth. And you can go on and on. Who is talking about oil today? That's the diminishing asset. When people are talking about intellectual economy, we're talking about baggage economy. That baggage shouldn't be our problem. If they know that you're strict and you're going to do the right thing, just like I always say about corruption, that if the number one, number two, whether governor or president decides to stop it and he's not involved, his children and family are not wife are not involved, that you reduce it by over 50%. If you decide to do the right thing and order for the right thing, it will be done. Go and ask the 30 members of House that impeached me. We sat down and they said, if you give us this, we will stop the impeachment in front of everybody. And I can call notable names and there. And I said, I'm not going to give it to you. I'd rather go. My name is Peter Obi. My name is not Governor of Anambra State. I'm not desperate to be president of Nigeria. I'm desperate to see Nigeria that works for the youths. We have so much talent and energy here that can change the world. And I want to do that. That's all. I want to see a Nigeria where that can generate 30, 40, 50 megawatts of electricity. We can't be in a country where, giant of Africa, for years we cannot generate more than 4,000 megawatts of electricity. Number 2 country in Africa, South Africa, with 60 million people, is generating 54,000. I always tell people, whenever people talk to me in a manner that I feel bad, I go into myself and reassess and re-examine myself. Unexamined life is not worth living. Why will anybody prefer people from Norway against people from Africa? That is the question. Because he said, why don't we have people from Norway than Africa? They asked me that in Yale. And I asked them, I said, it's very simple. Norway has 1 trillion sovereign wealth fund, and their per capita is $70,000. And that of Africa is 2,000. It's a simple thing. It's for Africans to go back. I've listened to fella. Let's ask ourselves, how did we get here? That is the question. How did we arrive at this junction where we're now being talked about in this manner? We now have agitations, Boko Haram, herdsmen, all sorts of agitations from everywhere, whether it's in the east, in the west, everywhere. And I can tell you it's going to worsen. It is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. And it's not going to stop because you have millions of your people. I was just talking to somebody this morning and I said, listen, people are protesting in Iran. They're not protesting in Nigeria. But people don't know that the protests will come. If Iranians can protest, Iran has a GDP of 400 billion. With 79 million people, their per capita is $6,050. And they're protesting. Nigeria per capita is 2,000. So the person with 6,000 is protesting. We're not. Iran generates 74,000 megawatts of electricity. We generate 4. And they're protesting. Iran has the unemployment of 11% and youth unemployment of 25%. We have unemployment of 19.8% and youth unemployment of 61%. So those youths will protest one day. Those of us who happen to be lucky to live in Ikwe and Victoria Land, I say to them every day, if we don't look for food for those who live in Ajegunle, one day we will not be living. So my people, what you need to do is, I believe that you must invest in Nigeria, you must bring your investment. Above all, we must change the managers of Nigeria. If you have a system that does not work, like a company, like China, it doesn't work, the structure does not work, you sit down, dialogue, and look at the structure. And look at it and say, how do we go on with this? Let us sit down and talk about it.
So we really need to sit down and talk?
Yeah, it's something that is inevitable.
What about 2014 confab?
That's what I'm saying. They've discussed it before. Maybe we're talking about the implementation now. Since it has been discussed, let us look whether is 36 states viable? Is 50 viable? What is viable? Where are we going to look? For me, it is all about looking at the future of the country, the viability of our operations, and everything. If I look at restructuring, the first thing that comes to my mind is, yes, we must restructure because we must look at the cost of governance because the cost is unacceptable. So, America, with 18 trillion economy, has 50 states. Of these 50 states, one state, California, has a 39 million population. The size of California is about 50% the size of Nigeria. In terms of size, they have their GDP is 2.6 trillion, which is 6 times our GDP. California alone. New York has about, say, 1/6 of our land size. The GDP of New York is 1.5 trillion, which is like about 4 times our GDP. And I can tell you the cost of running office of governor of California is less than the cost of running the office of governor.
So the states are not viable.
No, you can see. No. You don't need to be told this thing. China with the 11 trillion economy have 33 states. And then you have all these things. If I'm not saying shrink all this, but let's look at the size of the economy. Look at everything, and then states can be created. After in Indonesia, in the past few years, they've created some states. Let's do things in an organized manner. What it is that
would you suggest? Would you subscribe to a regional government? Like some people have suggested that we need to go back to regional government before the 1966 coup. We were before that.
We might not go back there. I don't entirely agree we'll go back there. We don't have citizenship. Before it was 4 or 3. Now we're not going to go back there. We might look at it and say this 6 or this might be more viable or this can help us to reduce. For me, it will help to reduce cost.
If we break down the present structure?
Yeah, completely. It will help to, look at you, let me go further to tell you. A state that operates a unicameral, which we do in the state, like in America, is the state of Nebraska. The state of Nebraska have 49 legislators being paid $12,000 a year because it's part-time job, which is what state legislators should be. Not the one we're operating here where it's full-time job because of, no, it should be a part-time job. What it takes to take a legislator in any of our states is far more expensive than what you do in state of Nebraska.
Let me quickly
the budget of state of Nebraska is $9 billion, which is about 3 trillion, which is bigger than the entire budget of the entire Southeast and Northeast put together. But the Northeast and Southeast, the entire legislators are 288. So you need to look at your system. Like I said, we want to create a Nigeria where a child of nobody will be somebody, will be able to live peacefully in a gainful, productive employment. My message remains, we have no other country except this one. Let's work hard and build it for everybody. Let's make the sacrifice. Those of us who are privileged to be leaders, and to those of us in office, I keep saying it, we are privileged. Please, this is time to cut down the waste and let's use the resources for the poor people of Nigeria. Even if I'm traveling with my wife, people have seen it. People have seen my wife in business class. They've seen her in first class. I was in different class. And we're in the same plane. Because that's what suits her. We don't quarrel with it. It suits him and it doesn't conflict my interest.
One of the things they said was that you were high-handed, that the doctors were on strike for 6 months and all of that. Can you shed light on the person and the kind of government you want to run if you are president?
Ask the doctors why they're on strike. Ask the teachers why they're on strike. After that, after the teachers strike, we move from number 26 to number 1. After the doctor strike, we won Bill Gates Prize for health. Why? When you bring change, you have for enemy all those who live off the old order. I cannot buy ambulance or put something in General Hospital and I can't find it, so we'll fight now. When teachers refused to do what is right, who did it? They went on strike. But they came back, agreed with me, and they started working. I'm sure if I become president tomorrow, some other people, including you, won't be happy with me. But it's not about happiness, it's about fixing the country. So people can have jobs, people can have means of livelihood and everything. It's not about pleasing people. Anybody, I'm not selling ice cream. My job is not making people happy. My job is to do the right thing for the country, for everybody. I can assure people that I will be in charge and I'll change this country. You will see people being pulled out of poverty. You will see it physically. They will feel it. They will see it happen. People saw it in Anambra State.